Hey guys, so this video is actually a replay of a live stream that I did on my Twitch channel. So the concept here is basically this is like a director's commentary slash reaction video. And the video in this instance is the pilot episode of my vlog. Give it a watch and let me know what you think, and if you could give me some feedback, that would be much appreciated. Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this thing, you can head over to my Twitch channel and we will do it again. You can follow me over there on Twitch, twitch.tv/Andrew Neeme. Cheers, guys. Here we are, and yeah, I mean, just to give a sort of like general sense of where we are in my life, I guess. Before I started this vlog, I had sort of like, I was pretty burnt out on poker. I mean, I've talked about this a lot in the vlog, and I had been debating starting this vlog for a long time, at least like just putting one together and seeing how I liked it and just trying it and giving it a shot. And so obviously I had watched a lot of Casey Neistat stuff, and there's going to be a ton of Casey Neistat influence in this video and, you know, especially the early episodes. And there still is a lot of Casey Neistat influence. So like even when before we get started here, like just kicking this off, he always started his episodes with the time lapse. I was like, okay, I guess that's how you start a vlog. You make a time lapse. And I remember like we had moved to this apartment, I think either a month or two before I started making these vlogs. And I was pretty excited to like have these these views, be able to get these shots and be able to make these time lapses at the start of the vlog. But the thing that was like pretty silly was that I was thinking about starting these vlogs for so long, and it was like well before we moved, and I wish I'd started before we moved, because I guess like a reason I didn't start it was just because I wasn't really inspired by the place that we were living at before. And then once we moved to this place, it was like, all right, this is cool, this will help me get these different shots and put it all together. And I wish I started before that, because then we could have just like, we could have had the transition from the last place out in Summerlin that Busi and I were living at, move right into this place and just sort of have that extra portion of our lives in Vegas, which is like when I'm like 80 years old or whatever, it's going to be fun to look back on these, and you know, we're not going to have the move from one place to the other. So it's really silly. Like if you're thinking about starting a blog and you're waiting for like the perfect time to do it, the gist of that story is I think you should just do it immediately, so that you are capturing more of your life that you'll be able to look back at when you are rewatching these videos that will be around forever, assuming YouTube is still in business and you save them on a hard drive externally. So yeah, here we have our opening shot, the time-lapse sequence with that old-ass font that I was using, which is basically like Times New Roman. I think I just picked a font that I thought looked okay and didn't really put any thought into that. There was eventually like someone in the comments who said I needed a more modern font, and I asked them which font they like, and they said something about like bold fonts or something. So later on I started using a different font, and I still use that font all this time later, but we're on this old font for the first like 15 videos or something. And yeah, even this music, a lot of the music that I use are there artists that Casey Neistat used as well. The music is always tough to figure out for vlogging, because if you use copyrighted music, they take all of your ad revenue away and they give it to YouTube, shares it with the music artist instead of sharing it with you. So so Casey was using all these different artists, like a handful of artists that made their music available for free and not copyrighted. So these guys have like a ton of tracks. If you go like, so you can go to their SoundCloud page, and it will, one of the guys was David Cutter, and he has so many tracks on here. He even calls them vlog music now. He's just like, okay, this is my niche apparently. I make vlog music and people love it, and I'm gonna try and use that to get my music out there, which I think is really smart. Obviously Casey put his music out there a ton, but he's got tons and tons of tracks on here, and you know, you just kind of got to go through and pick one that you think fits the mood of your video. And from there I found out I've discovered a few more that weren't, you know, in all the Casey videos or whatever. So like a guy who goes by DJ Quads, who either plays poker or he loves leg day or something. But you know, you find these other musicians who make the music and make it available for usage. This camera, this is actually me opening the microphone and reading the instructions, how to put this microphone on top of this camera that I never use anymore. For a while I used this camera both to get these time lapses off the balcony and like some other time lapses. I would put this in my backpack and take it with me wherever I went. But pretty quickly after that I stopped using it. First of all, this microphone that I put on here in this sequence, it was the wrong microphone. I bought the wrong one because it just did not get the job done. You need to get, this was a Rode microphone, I think, but you need the Rode microphone that has like the volume adjuster on it where you can get the extra boost, because this one just sucked. This one was wrong. And then after I had already opened the package, I tried to exchange it, and they wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it back. I would have had to pay another $200 for the correct Rode microphone, RODE. So right off the bat, like from vlog number 1 all the way through vlog 130, which we're at now, audio issues. They've been the bane of my existence. But this camera, it's a little bit tough to bring to the casino and like film yourself and talk into it, because the casino, they're not really too hip to filming in the casino, obviously. So again, I saw Casey Neistat using a digital SLR, so I thought that was what you're supposed to do, and a microphone on top of it, and yeah, everything was difficult.
Okay. So I just spent a ridiculous amount of time.
Let me know if you guys can hear this.
Trying to do an intro for this thing, whatever this thing is. I mean, I don't know. I must have spent like 45 minutes or so doing who knows how many takes, which is just ridiculous. So I was trying to describe what.
So yeah, I just said I spent 45 minutes doing this, trying to like give an intro to the entire vlog, and turn it up. Could be a bit louder. All right, I'll turn it up when I play it again. But this was so super awkward for me, and I really respect Trooper, how he's able to just like walk around with his camera in front of anybody and everybody and just talk into it, and he just doesn't care. Casey Neistat is really good at that as well, and just not giving a shit about what anybody thinks, and they just go and do their thing. But this, even with nobody around, I kicked Busi out of the apartment for like 6 hours or something. I was like, I need to be alone. I need to talk to the camera and not be super self-conscious with as few people around as possible. So this was just chilling out here by myself, and it was still like super difficult. It took me 45 minutes to just give this intro and do retakes and retakes. And I remember like just being conscious of like my neighbors hearing me and stuff like that. Like, just so silly. Now it's like I'll go on the balcony. I don't care. I don't care who hears me. I don't really care what they think about it. But how comfy are you watching yourself? Yeah, I don't really mind watching myself. It's fine. But it's just, I remember that feeling of like trying to get out what I want to say about this vlog, and being super self-conscious about it.
I want it to be and what I think it should be. And the truth is, I don't really know what it is and what it's going to be. I mean, it's a vlog, and that's all there really is. What other description does it need? It's me playing poker. It's what I've been doing for the past 8 years while I've been living in Las Vegas, playing poker professionally, and that's what I'm going to try and capture and share with an audience.
Good for you.
It would be awesome.
Good for you, bro.
If it was interactive, and if people got involved, whether that's through making suggestions or commenting or asking questions or whatever.
I didn't know how to sit still yet when I was talking to the camera.
How it'll all end up, or how many of these I'll do, or how often I'll do them. Ideally, every time I play poker, I think would be a cool amount of content. So I guess over the past 8 years on average, I would say maybe about 5 days a week. But
Zero
that
chance.
seems like a lot of vlogging and editing and all that stuff. So that could be a little ambitious, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
This vlog took me literally 2 days to edit afterwards. yeah, 2 days of editing this one video. So
What else
5
is there
videos
to
a
say,
week.
really? Let's
Possible.
go play some poker.
It was pretty impressive though how I cranked that out. I'm sort of a fan of like, not a fan, but I don't care about using all the jump cuts and stuff. But I managed to get to eventually, after however many takes, 10 takes, doing that whole thing. I don't know if there were very few jump cuts in there, if any. So that's pretty good. Good thing. So you can see all the shots are influenced by Casey Neistat, setting the camera down and walking by it. Las Vegas. Las Vegas, guys. Welcome. One thing that you're going to notice is just how long these transitions take in this video, and like the first handful of videos, especially this one. Like, I remember one of the feedback that somebody gave me was it took me forever to get out of my apartment. Apparently, I felt like I had to film every single step that I took, and I had to bring the audience with me for like every step I took along the way from point A to point B. Look at that shot. That's a good shot right there, guys.
So you might think, since we're in the parking garage here, that we could take the car, but we're actually not going to take the car to work today.
Nope, not taking the car, guys.
We're going to take this guy.
I'm taking the skateboard. What a disaster this skateboard was. I used to do a decent amount of skateboarding when I was a kid, and I was like I think I talked about that in this video.
So back when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I used to ride skateboards like a lot. I am nowhere near as good as I was back then. Boy, am I terrible at this.
I tried to practice for a little bit before deciding to film this vlog. I practiced a couple days skateboarding. And it came back to me a little bit, and I can snowboard okay, but I gave up on this skateboard thing pretty early after this first video. This is a good shot here right there. Set the camera down, skate by, come back, pick up the camera, off you go. So you can see how concerned I am about like making sure every step along the way is captured. A lot of people like this though. A lot of people just like seeing the Las Vegas scenery.
Little known fact about the Golden Nugget. Not only does it house the world's largest golden nugget, you can also purchase your own gold to go via this gold ATM. Maybe if we book a really good win.
Yeah guys, I forgot all about the gold ATM. We need to go back and actually make a purchase at the gold ATM.
Alright, so we're on the list waiting for our seat 1, 2 game. The idea that I had for shooting this vlog and deciding what sticks to.
So you can, there's like a couple things you can tell here. A, like lighting is obviously going to be a big issue when you're trying to film and not make a big deal out of it in the casino. So you just have to like just roll with it. It's tough because there's this overhead lighting. Obviously you want to try and have the light in front of you, not behind you. But when you're like in a corner, you're facing a corner of the poker room. There's not going to be any lights in the corner facing the middle of the room. So that's why it's going to kind of look like crap. And it's also like interesting to watch myself talk. Now, like when I make a video, I want it to move pretty quickly through like either what I'm saying or, like from one thing to the next, like one scene to the next scene. I'll put some time lapses in there for transition or whatever. But in these old videos, I noticed that like my speech patterns are very slow and it's sort of like drawn out, and I'm just sort of like waiting for myself when I'm watching this to like get to the point, get to the next thing, get to the next sentence. And that's when I started like putting a lot more jump cuts in there. I noticed that like Philip DeFranco, he's got a huge YouTube channel on just like pretty general topics, and he uses a ton of jump cuts. It's almost like every sentence or every other sentence. So like Casey Neistat, he wasn't using a ton of jump cuts, and I was trying to like, just think about what I want to say and then get it all out there in a monologue. But I'm sure even in this video I was still using jump cuts, but eventually I just gave up because it's not that easy for me to just move from one thing to the next. Some people just have like an open, I don't know what you call that, train of thought, and it just kind of flows out. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult for me because I want to like think about the next thing to say. And so these videos, my speeches are a little bit slow. And Poker Germs, thanks for the sub.
Play was, say I book a win tonight, and tomorrow I'll play 1-3. And if tomorrow I win again, then the next day I'll play 2-5. And say I lose that day playing 2-5, then I'll go back down and play 1-3 the next day. Now, I don't know if that's a good idea or
Stream
bad
of consciousness,
idea.
thanks.
As far as normal play, I think that's a terrible idea. If I wasn't making a vlog, and if I was trying to move up in stakes, I wouldn't just base it on whether I won or lost the previous day. As far as making an interesting vlog and interesting videos, I think it's a decent idea. I think it'll have some built-in variety to that sort of a schedule and that sort of structure. But I'm definitely open to ideas and suggestions and thoughts on that in general. I don't know, we might be getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, so.
I think stuff like that is a great idea where you can have some sort of a, if it's like a bankroll challenge or something like that, or you're like moving up and down in stakes. It's something that's like, I think made some of my recent vlogs a little bit on the stale side. But there's other ways that you can like get around that, if you're just including your personal story along the way, or including Vegas scenery and stuff, and keep people interested. But there needs to be some sort of progression. So that's why I think like bankroll challenges are really interesting. And then this idea that I came up with where I'll start at 1-2, if I win, I'll go up to 1-3 or whatever, go up to 2-5. And then if I lose, back down in stakes. It's for sure interesting. The only problem is that you move up pretty quick to a stake like 5-10 and then 10-20, and you're suddenly playing like kind of high for your average player and for myself even. So I wasn't playing higher than 5-10. So that's the downside to this idea.
Probably just take it one day at a time and see how it goes, and see if I even feel like doing another one of these videos after today. I'm trying not to look into the screen up there. And I'm trying.
I guess we decided to.
You, the audience. I'm really new at this, so this is super awkward, but I don't know, it's kind of fun too.
Super awkward. I didn't even know that you could like adjust the, the exposure on the camera with the little dial on top of the G7X. So this is the G7X that I'm using here. I think the most asked question that I've ever gotten on these videos is how do you capture the footage at the table? This guy propped up behind the chips just like this, just sitting on the table, turn the brightness all the way down, and off you go. Just record on your phone. I thought about recording an entire vlog just on my phone. I think I should do that, but that's all it takes. You don't need like a special spy cam or whatever.
All right, so a new game started.
Yeah, the fast forwarding in the hands.
Here in the corner. I recognize one girl in the game. Aside from that, nobody else, which is pretty expected for a 1-2 game. Already managed to snag one guy. He had like $120 or something within the first orbit, but unfortunately there was like
I don't exactly sound super excited here, do I, with these updates?
That was just for the side pot. The main pot, I flopped top 2 pair with 10-9, and the guy with like $30 left to the flop, he managed to win the main pot. So probably up like $30 so far, but whatever, not really important. But all right, see how it goes.
So this shot is hilarious here, mainly because you don't really notice it so much when the time lapse is happening, but there's these two chicks here. This one is in cheerleader outfit. This one I think is completely topless aside from some pasties, and I think that's it. And so, like, you know, this is Fremont Street. There's all sorts of craziness happening, and you know, etc. on Fremont Street, on the Fremont Street experience. And so, like, you know, took a break during the game, came out here to get a time lapse, as I think you're supposed to do when you're making vlogs. And I set up my camera to sort of capture the scene out here. And this guy here, who is like kind of looking after these girls, he came up to me and asked me if I was filming them. And I was like, no, I'm just getting a time lapse of the building over here. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he just went back to minding after the girls. I still remember that. Yeah, so you can see him walk over towards me and ask me if we bring it back here a little bit. Someone spilled their popcorn in the middle of the street, and this guy came and cleaned it up. Time lapse number 2. So this was my original sort of concept for capturing the hands. Sorry, just kind of keeping track of you guys' questions and stuff. I think I'll try and answer some questions after the video is over. Whatever questions you guys have, see if you can remember them for different parts. But yeah, this was the initial concept for capturing the hands. You can see in the old font as well. And I really liked the idea. The sort of general idea was to have the audience, try and have the audience sort of like be at the table and be present. And so, you know, when I lift up the cards, I'm sort of like trying to put the audience member in the driver's seat. When I win a pot, I try and scoop it into the camera, so, you know, it looks like it's like coming right at the audience member. And then with these sort of graphics, or not graphics, but this is before I knew how to make a graphic. I still don't really know. But I would try and like just sort of put these labels over where people were sitting. So it was sort of like in the field of view from the point of view where the person was sitting, like where I'm sitting / where the audience is sitting. And rather than just like listing it out below. And I still really like this. I prefer this. The only problem is it's really hard for me to describe my thoughts or my action. Yeah, basically my thoughts. But I actually kind of prefer it this way. You know, so it's a trade-off between like just having the person who's watching this be sort of like in the moment and me like talking next to what's going on and describing everything. You know, there's a lot of people out there that don't really play a lot of poker, and this doesn't give me a chance to sort of describe what's going on and how to like think about poker and how to approach a poker game from a strategic point of view. If I just describe the action like this, there's a lot of like mystery as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, and like the less experienced poker player can't really make sense of why I chose to do what I did. Jamin Burton has sort of taken this to a much better level with some much prettier graphics. He said it takes him a very long time, but it looks really great the way he does it, and just sort of drops these tags in there. I think it's really cool. This dude was obviously like in this game, he was the action player. This is a pretty funny hand. There was a lot of comments about this hand.
You know what I mean?
I think he limped in. This person raised to 17, call, I call. Initial raiser folds. This girl over here thinks about it for a long time. She's doing this thing where she's waiting to get a reaction out of me. She's waiting to see what I'm gonna do. So she's just kind of like not really moving. She's just kind of waiting to see if she can get a reaction out of myself. I know who this, I don't know her personally, but I know who this person is. I still remember who that is. So I'm just sitting there completely motionless, like not. And how weird is this? this dude. This is the thing about the games at the Golden Nugget. You never know like what you're getting yourself into. I put his little weird quote up there on screen, and this is something else you can do. Like when you're doing the graphics this way, rather than me talking about all the action on the side, it's easier to just do this stuff and drop in people's comments and their table talk and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about that exactly. So eventually she gets tired of waiting for me to give a reaction. I pretty much snap call it with king queen here. And I was thinking about this hand when I was thinking about doing this commentary, and I was thinking that like if I mean it's king queen, it's only, I don't know how much more it was like $70 or something. A lot of people were like, wow, king queen, you just call it off like that, call it jam for, you know, like 50 big blinds or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, like maybe if I was really worried about trying to build a 1-2 bankroll or something or whatever, if I wasn't playing up a couple levels, like not that I played that high, but maybe I would consider it. But yeah, just king queen, just whatever, just 2 picture cards. I mean, drop it in there.
It's a pretty sweet deal, you know?
I guess maybe if I want to show, I just sort of ignored him.
You got anything?
We beat 6-9 of spades. I don't know if like his "I'll buy you an ice cream" was some sort of weird, like, you know, people call the 6-9 the big lick or something, and he's trying to get all creative with that and just go into that level. Don't know, man. So here's me capturing every step that I took when I was on break.
I'm just taking a break right now, and Fremont Street is always crazy. There's 2 centers of the freak universe. One is Venice Beach, California. 2, Fremont Street. Madness out here.
We do need to capture a lot more Fremont Street, and I think we can maybe do that with Twitch. I think that'll help us out.
So I've been playing about a couple hours. Currently up about $220 or something like that. The game was pretty good, but a couple of the fun players left, so now it's just mediocre. So I'm just gonna grab a bite to eat out here and just kind of take it all in.
Jamin is in the chat. He says, do you find it painful or funny to watch old vlogs? I find it both. I mean, I don't find it too painful because I think when you start off doing these things, you're gonna suck. It's like anything else, right? I know you know this, but it's like anything else. It's gonna be pretty bad. There's gonna be some things that you can improve on, and I think it's just hard to have to be okay with like sucking at something when you're getting started. It's literally like anything else, and it's for sure funny. Yeah, it's for sure a little bit cringy, but definitely not painful. I think it's more funny than anything. Another time lapse. Multiple time lapses here on this break.
Alright, gonna get back after it for like another hour, couple hours or something like that. See how it goes.
I hadn't yet learned how to like really project my voice into the G7X camera because there's no external microphone option for the G7X. I hadn't figured out what to do about like, I didn't know yet. I didn't know how the audio would work out. But yeah, I eventually learned to at least try and talk a little bit louder, but I'm sort of just using it in my normal voice in these videos, in this video.
See how the table is.
I won't play with you. I should tell you.
This something I really liked that I've sort of stopped doing for who knows what reason, but fast forwarding through some hands that are mucks. Remind people that it's not just all premium hands, because often the most interesting hands are going to be the premium hands that you play down to the river, but there's all these hands in between. So when you're just showing the premium hands, and you know it looks like you're flopping a set every time you have pocket fives or whatever, by including these hands, you remind people that it's just not the premiums non-stop. Okay, I think we get the point though. We could have done a couple less trash hands here.
We got some gamblers with this table.
85.
85.
Putting in the 3-bet versus the under the gun razor. Snap call.
We'll see how you like it now when you make it 85. Make it 600.
Thanks forever and calls. I like my tags here.
Somebody's going to be happy.
Last night the pre-flop was $2,500.
Lots of money in there.
$2,500 pre-flop.
I don't have no.
Those are 60, 70,000. Not here.
That's what I had.
Not sure how deep we are here at this point.
There's a 50K volume.
115. Interesting. Hey, we got it through.
Good bets, by the way.
I guess we're jamming any turn or something. Don't know what the plan is there.
I didn't hit my set, so I don't care.
The man says he didn't hit his set, he doesn't care. No set, no bet.
How much you sleeping stars right now? How much you love?
Very next hand. Deuce, deuce. It's a fold, I guess.
So it's about 12:30. Just finished up. Normally I'd go home right now.
By the way, all that stuff that you just watched, I had to figure out how the hell you do all that. Everything from speeding up the video to adding the titles to, if you see these are called titles, by the way. See how it fades out like that? Everything had to be done by going to YouTube, typing in how do you make the words fade out. I probably didn't know that they were called titles. I probably just said, how do you put words on the screen? How do you make them fade out? How do you speed up your video? Blah, blah, blah. How do you maintain the audio level so it doesn't sound like, super high pitched and like mice when you are speeding up the audio? All that stuff. It all had to be answered by typing in questions into YouTube and then figuring it out, and then just, very tediously doing this over the course of 2 days.
That's good bluff. Hey, you run over.
How do you run favorably?
I didn't hit my set, so I
We'll have to type that into YouTube. Korean poker.
How much you sleeping stars right now? How much you love?
So it's about 12:30. Just finished up. Normally I'd go home right now, but since this is the very first vlog, can't do that just yet. Gotta go grab a quick beer.
Gotta grab a beer.
Yeah.
And here we are capturing every single step again that I took. It's a pretty cool walk from from Fremont Street down to East Fremont Street, where all these bars are, down towards El Cortez, and then beyond that. It's really hard to sort of visualize that though when you're walking at this speed. I don't know if I used the G7X. I think I might have used an app on my phone for this shot called Hyperlapse. I think that's what I used. It smooths it out a little bit, but as you can see, it's not that smooth. But there's an app called Hyperlapse. Some of you guys probably know that.
All right, so we're wrapping up the day at Atomic Liquor.
And you can hear there's this ridiculous buzzing sound in this shot. I'm back on the digital SLR for this shot. I don't know why it looks so yellow. This is not like a filter or something. This is just how it was captured on my camera. And there's this weird buzzing sound that is coming, I think, from the microphone that I had plugged in here. Don't know.
Here's one of my favorite bars, not only in Las Vegas, but I guess in the world. Awesome spot.
Sounds
Joseph
terrible.
James Citrurai, one of Las Vegas's finest beers.
Still one of my favorite
we
beers.
finished the session up plus 240, 242, something like that. I'm not really like super concerned with the wins and losses, like to the dollar amount while I'm going to be making these videos. I just don't care that much. I care much more about like making an interesting video, something that you can really get something out of. Again, whether that's like entertainment factor, or if you happen to learn something, that's awesome too. And whether that's just taking 10 minutes out of your day or whatever kind of benefit you can get from it.
Andrew Jaundice Neeme says Dockers. Yeah, I think it's tough though, because people really like the final plus minus at the end of the day when you're playing poker and you're playing a poker session. They sort of need that final chapter or whatever of the story. You know, it's interesting. It's one thing to say. I do think the most important takeaway is like an interesting, you know, whether that's like entertainment in some fashion or a learning experience in some fashion, some overall picture, and not just my uptick and downtick of the day, but people they need like that final chapter of the story, that final line.
So let me know if there's anything that you guys would be more interested in seeing, or if there's anything that you'd be happy to see less of in this video or these videos. I feel like this video is going to be terrible, personally, but I'm kind of looking at this one like as my pilot episode. So who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what you guys have to say about it. Let me know. Let me know what you like, what you dislike. But yeah, we booked a win on the first vlog, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. Cheers.
Not really a victory beer for that, but a victory beer for putting the first video together. So that's cool.
You can see how concerned I am by this dude walking by. So I just have to move this over a little bit so I can scroll back to that, because that was classic. Hopefully that's still lined up okay.
Not really a victory beer for
look at
that,
this guy walk by and I'm like,
for putting the first video together, so that's cool. And yeah, we booked a win in the first session.
what was that about?
That means tomorrow.
What is the big deal if that guy's in the shot?
Smidge. We'll step it up to 1-3 tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe we'll end up either.
Yeah, there's a lot of ums
in
in there. Korean poker.
So there we go. Get out of downtown and go hit the strip. So see you there.
See you guys there. Look at that. I've used the same end card, so to speak, ever since the pilot episode. Different font, same words though, for the most part. Don't know why I called this the pilot episode. I think I called it the pilot episode partially because I wasn't sure what it was going to become, if it was actually going to become like a thing for me that I would keep doing and take up so much of my time. And I think I also sort of like hedged myself, and as far as like the quality of it, and I think I kind of like wimped out a little bit and just didn't accept that it was going to be pretty bad, you know. So I like named it the pilot episode because I was like, it gave me an excuse to be like, well, this is why it's not so good, you know. It's just the first one. Look, it's called the pilot episode. So that was kind of like wimpy on my part, but that's the full video, you guys. We don't want to watch the Super Ad Roller Cash, but yeah, that's it. I mean, I said that I thought it was probably going to be terrible, and I don't know. I mean, there was obviously a lot of things that needed a lot of improvement on there with that video. Like, you know, I don't think I needed to capture every single step that I took. Like I've said a couple times, those could all be sped up a lot. I don't need to, I can, you know, cut down, make a lot more cuts in the monologues and whatnot, what have you. But that was the very first one, and the feedback that I got was definitely fuel for doing more of those, and that's like super important for someone who is doing something like this, whatever it is. If it's like something creative that you're not exactly sure how people are going to react to it and whether they're going to be into it, if it like speaks to them or whatever, you know, that might be a little bit too cliche, but if they get something out of it, the feedback is going to be really important. So I got very good feedback in the comments. I guess we could probably take a look at these comments and see what people had to say here. This guy is like a popular YouTuber and Instagrammer. This guy, my name's Che, I think is how he says it. Love this concept. Casey Neistat meets Jay Carver. That was like that comment right there said a lot. Mr. Dorson, who's also a vlogger, says, "Good job, bro. I typically never comment on YouTube videos, but this was amazing. Keep it up, please." So that's like, comments like that are huge when you're first starting, because you think like you have no idea what people are gonna say about it. It'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, this is so weird. Like, why are you talking to your camera? Shouldn't you just be like playing poker?" So yeah, a lot of the comments were pretty positive. I don't know if like this thumbs up, thumbs down ratio was exactly what it was when I first started, but the comments were pretty instrumental in making the next video. And then from there, you just, you make another video and you see what people say about it. You make another one, you make another one, and you sort of adjust based on what the feedback is. Don't need so much of this, do more of that, show us more hands. Yeah, someone said that I bend the cards too much. Gotta bend those cards, you guys. Bend the shit out of them, man. That's what they're made for. They're plastic, they're not paper. They're not like the blackjack or baccarat cards. They're made to be bent. There's my brother in there giving me some love. I like this vid. Love it. Keep making these. So I mean, yeah, the comments. I read all these comments. You can see I've clicked the thumbs up after all of these. I missed one here. Who came back after the 50K blog? You give that one a thumbs up. So you can see I've clicked the thumbs up on all of these. Just shows that I read every single comment that gets put on these. It's hard to respond to everything just because there's so many comments on these, but getting that feedback, like I said, is pretty instrumental. So 334 comments on there now, 1.7K upvotes, 27 downvotes, and 109,000 views. And that was the first one. There you have it.